All right, this is my keyword outline that I'm going to be using in speech 3. My name is Zachary Rogers, and I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So what should or should not be regulated by the government? Where does the line lay that keeps our government from really over-regulating some of the rights that we feel were naturally given to us? One major natural right that has been the breeder of controversy for so many years now in this nation is the right to one's own body. You know, that constitutional conversation that's been going on for so many years now, but more specifically, abortion rights. The major court case that decided the fate of these rights, as we know, is the Roe v. Wade court case, decided all the way back in 1973, that worked to give the choice to have an abortion to the people, right? Stopping the total illegalization of the procedure. And unfortunately, as of recent news, the Supreme Court is actually looking to overturn this decision and really take the choices and rights away from the people. So the overturn of this court case is going to have major negative effects on all states in the U.S., all the people in this nation. But by informing the nation of these effects and building this mass opinion by uniting all the people, we can really work to persuade the court to just discontinue this overruling. But in order to truly grasp the effects of this overturn, understanding both the original case's decision as well as how the decision has controlled the regulations of abortion is really critical. So like we said, the overturn of Roe v. Wade is a huge blow to the choices and rights of everyone in this nation. The range is non-exclusive. Every single person is going to be affected by this, whether or not you believe it. And having control of whether one can get an abortion or not is a major natural right that should not be taken away. So, according to Oriez.org, which is a website that uses what's called the Justitia Court Center to compile all of the major cases of our Supreme Court, it shows that the Roe v. Wade court case was decided in 1973 and gave the choice to have an abortion to the person affected, right? And was allowed up until the fetus was viable. This is in volume 410 of this Justitia Center. And the case really gave choices to people who found themselves in some sincerely difficult but unique situations where they felt as though just raising a child was just not feasible. This could come from several different factors, right? Things like financial instability, poor living conditions, whatever the case may be. With the overturn of this decision, the choices are taken away, right? No longer that people who are worried for either the well-being of the baby they could potentially have or the well-being of themselves. Maybe the birth will have negative effects on their health or the people around them. No longer do these people have the decision of whether or not to have this child, to raise a family. It's taken away from them. According to an NPR article that was written by Joe Hernandez of this year, almost 60% of women who are at the age of reproducing, the age that they will most likely have a child, live in states that lean very heavy on anti-abortion rights. So already people who find themselves in these situations are surrounded by hostility, which just makes the potential of this procedure even more so difficult, right? But now with the decision, it would be left to the individual representatives of the states, some of which have been known to have underlying biases, of course, that already makes the lives of certain groups of people that much more difficult, especially women of color, poor women, that kind of stuff. Just people who find themselves in difficult living situations are already dealing with issues, and then this overturn is just going to add to the unfortunates. So not only are the natural rights of people tampered with, but also the regulation of the procedure is now left to the states, the state legislatures, which is a major issue, right? So the overturn of the case gives the final decision of abortion laws to state representatives that were elected, giving them way too much power, as well as allowing biases and other sort of social issues to really seep in and affect the outcome, right? So according to an article written by Josh Gernstein, who is a reporter of Politico, The opinion draft of the Supreme Court, which is the draft that is currently being made for the overturn, is to, quote, give the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives, right? So give the final decisions. We don't want it anymore. Now it's the people that y'all have elected so long ago and that very few people have even voted for, right? So the issue is that this eliminates the constitutional protection of abortion rights that was once guaranteed to us by the federal government, right? The decision of Roe v. Wade back in 73 created this sort of barrier of protection around abortion rights, allowing for people to have a little bit more leniency in the choice that they have. So these issues that are created is really highlighted in the CNN article found that was written by Elizabeth Wolfe, who is a very famous reporter. She wrote this on May 13th of this year. And it states that the draft would give just way too much substantial power to really legislators who could then limit both the abortion access as well as the rights regarding abortion, right? Thankfully, there are still several states that have worked to really guarantee their commitment to protecting these rights, even post-overturn, after the decision is going to be made. Whether or not that decision will be made is still up in the air. These states include places like California and Colorado, as well as 15 other states. So close to half of what America is, right? But eliminating the guaranteed protection that we once had really creates this sort of stir of uneasiness and really causes the people to just completely lose trust in the government and more so wonder what's going to happen to them in the future, what might happen to the other rights that we've been using for so many years now. Will they be taken away? Lots of questions up in the air regarding what's going to happen from all of this. So really, what can there be done in order to prevent this overturn and allow for the rights and choices regarding abortions to stay with the people, right? The big question, how can we fix this? So the solution is really just based on the Supreme Court discontinuing this overturn and throwing out the current draft and either keep the original case's decision that was made back in 73, or if they're still certainly adamant on making some sort of alterations, go about it in a way that doesn't actually take away the natural rights of people, right? So the first question is, how can that be done? And really the best answer is we use our voice, we speak up, we do what we were born to do, and that is voice our opinion. It is one of the biggest rights that we have in this country. A poll was actually taken by NPR with the article that covered this data being written by, I believe, Domenico Montanaro. I may have mispronounced that. It was of May this year, where 2/3 of the voters in this poll of whether or not they support this overturn voted against it. So clearly the majority of opinions in this nation is that the overturn is just in general a bad idea and that the effects will truly be devastating. But by speaking up and using different facets of media online, which we all have access to really, we can truly raise the awareness for this overturn and better emphasize the effects that it will have, right? Unfortunately, something that can't be changed is that the ultimate decision really comes down to the Supreme Court. And swaying the views and decisions of this governing body will prove to be truly difficult. But by working together as a mass and pushing as hard as we possibly can, the cancellation of this overturn may be possible. But really to summarize these issues, the federal government, again, is working to overturn Roe v. Wade, which truly eliminates the protection of abortion rights and just gives far too much power to legislators of the states. This overturn will have disastrous effects, right, on the nation's people, as well as the choices and rights that we have. And the best shot at fixing this is to just work together to better raise the awareness of this overturn, making sure everybody knows that this is happening, and helping to potentially sway the body of the Supreme Court through our voices of the people that they govern over themselves. So really just working together and continuing to show your support against this will potentially change their mind. And that's all I have.